Hello everyone, Phelps45 here with a quick review of this thing. I was waiting until college was out for the summer to buy Battlefield 3 so my GPA wouldn't plummet to the earth. I took a look at my current equipment and realized my previous joystick, which hadn't been used since the glory days of Battlefield 2, was using a game port connection, which is something most new motherboards have dropped support for. So in order to use my clunker, I would have to buy a game port to USB adapter, which costs about as much as buying a new joystick. Needless to say, I decided to go for the new stick. I found this device, the Cyborg FLY 5 USB interface Flightstick for under 40 bucks. Cyborg does have a later model, but I felt this would do the job. So you're probably wondering why it looks broken. It's not. If you've ever heard of Cyborg peripherals, then you know they're all about letting you modify the shape of your device to your liking. Now of course, to function, the stick must be screwed on. But this is great for storing the odd-shaped device when you aren't using it. The stick has several gold-plated contacts in the bottom to prevent oxidation. Once you've got the stick locked onto the device, what now? It doesn't really look like what's on the box, and these thrusters look silly. Well, after about 5 seconds, I figured it out and felt really stupid. You just pull it apart. Pretty cool, actually. This is definitely the most portable flight stick I've ever owned, and that's good because it won't take up much room in my closet for the next decade while I wait for Battlefield 4 or whatever to come out. The device has a few points of interest where you can adjust it. I'll start with this one. This adjustment doesn't require using the tool. It's just a simple up and down adjustment to fit your hand size. Just under that are these 4 holes that allow you to adjust the rake. The only way to adjust them is to use a small object to push the pin in and swivel the stick back and forth. It seems like a strange concept that such an important adjustment would be so hidden. It's also difficult to adjust in comparison with the other parts of the device. The easiest way is just to use the included Allen wrench. The Allen wrench comes with the device and actually sits right in the base of it. Moving up, you can adjust the tilt of the head anywhere from 0 to 35 degrees, which is pretty cool. The last adjustment is very subtle. You can move the controller head back and forth slightly. You can also unpair the thrusters by clicking this button, if you feel it's worthy enough to call it an adjustment. For comfort's sake, they coated it in a thin layer of silicone. It makes it feel nice even after hours of use. The overall design is very sleek and, well, cyborg-ish. Little features like the LED lit head, exposed wires in the back, and overall rigid design all flow nicely, and I'm very pleased with the aesthetics. So how does it perform? Well, for starters, it has a yaw function, which is great. Yeah, I find it silly too. Who makes a joystick without a yaw function? But they do exist. I've been using it quite a bit, and none of the sensors have worn out yet. The device features about 20 inputs. It also has a shift key that allows you to bring the total functions up to about 40. And if that's still not enough, it comes with its own software to let you set your own macros. All functions work fine, but there's a catch. Some games really don't like to work with a stick. Common flight games like Hawks and Microsoft Flight Sim work just fine with minimal setup. But for games like Battlefield 3, it had a number of issues. If you simply plug it in and go play, you'll find you lose the ability to sprint as a soldier, and whenever you switch your weapons, they fire. It's very strange. So even after setting the binds, I was still having a few issues. The device does have some bundled software that allow you to use something called game profiles, but they didn't seem to do anything. I looked around online and found plenty of others with the same issues on the device. I also found a lot of answers, but they were all really crazy. I realized that the real issue was that I couldn't clear binds in Battlefield 3, so I found a really nice free third-party program that allows you to set binds and clear them without having to boot up the game. Very handy. I'll make a how-to video on this later, but it's important to remember that you're going to spend at least 10 minutes installing software and tweaking the binds. And also keep in mind, this isn't going to be an issue for every game. That being said, the device has one last problem. The buttons do not correspond with what they claim to be, at least in most games. For example, button 6 shows up as button 1 on the software, so you'd think that button number 7 would be button number 2. It actually shows up as 3. It gets even sillier. The trigger shows up as a pad up, and the others are also odd. The only thing that really shows up spot on is the 8-way hat switch. All this is only an oddity, and it's not really a big negative. Overall, the device seems like a flight stick worth way more than 40 bucks. Its sleek design and smooth controls outweigh the growing pains of having to set the keybinds. If you feel the keyboard and mouse just isn't cutting it anymore and you're on a tight budget, this stick might be a good buy. And I hope you all enjoyed the review. If you have any questions, comments, witty remarks, sly suggestions, I'd love to hear them. Until next time.